tax lien property list. Welcome back. For the past 30 years, I've been involved in tax lien certificates and tax defaulted property. So I've had a lot of experience with tax lien property lists. So we're going to talk about those because there's millions of tax lien certificates are sold. So let's learn about the tax lien property list. They're published county to county, and they're done and they're put on the website, and they're also advertised and announced in the local newspaper. So the tax lien property list is made by the county. They'll have it on the county website, and then they'll have it in many local newspapers. If there's only one, they'll have it in that newspaper. So now you know where to get a tax lien property list. All right, so in this episode, I'm going to cover that list and a lot about tax lien certificates and how the properties ended up being in the tax default. Now, investors, this is an alternative investment that a lot of people like. Why? Because they can invest with the county and then they get a check back from the county. So it's a safe, secure investment that people like. So thousands of investors, thousands nationwide, participate in these auctions. All the counties, I should say, in the United States, all 3,000 of them sell tax defaulted property. But today we're going to talk about tax lien property lists. All right, so half of the states will sell tax lien certificates. And that's what we're going to talk about is tax lien certificates. Now, my educated guess is that you don't know about these because brokers and bankers and attorneys don't very often talk about them. Why don't they talk about tax lien lists? Well, they don't talk about them simply because they probably feel it's competition for them because they're really working on commissions, and there's no commissions coming. So there's no sense in referring people to the county to spend money if they can't make a commission. So they want to make commissions, or the attorneys want to get paid. So most people don't know about tax liens, so they don't know about the tax lien property list. So we'll talk a little bit about that. As I said earlier, the lists are made up by the county, and they'll be on the county website when the auction is going to take place, online or offline, and they'll also be in the newspaper, so you'll be able to find them. So briefly, let's talk about these certificates. They pay they actually pay outrageous interest rates. So let me give you some examples of that. Arizona will pay 16%, okay? Florida pays up to 18%, Iowa pays 24%, and Illinois up to 36%. So these are powerful rates of return that you can earn on a tax lien certificate. You're going to find the list on the county website, or you're going to find it in the local newspaper, or both. All right, so this is a competitive market, but there's so many tax lien certificates that a lot of people use this as an alternative investment. Now, I say you have a competitive advantage. Why? Well, your advantage is you're not buying CDs at the bank and earning 2, 3, or 5%. You're able to earn these high interest rates that I just mentioned, 16, 18, 24, 36% interest paid on tax lien certificates. All right, now the United States has over 3,000 counties. All right, half of the counties will sell tax lien certificates. Florida, for example, is very popular for tax lien certificates. Generally, in the month of May and June, they will sell those certificates to the public, and they'll have as many as 1 million certificates that they will sell. Now, let's keep in mind, when you buy a tax lien certificate, you're buying a piece of paper. You're not buying a property. You're buying a piece of paper that will earn you a high interest rate. All right, so these properties have gone into tax default. People have not paid their taxes. All right, now each state has to follow the rules that come from the legislature. All right, so the legislature dictates the rules, then they push the rules down and have the Board of Supervisors or county commissioners have to execute those rules. All right, now what's happening is someone hasn't paid their property tax. So the state has said everyone must pay property tax. If they don't pay property tax, in the tax lien certificate states, which are about half, those states will issue a tax lien certificate. Now, anybody can buy one of those certificates, and they have to pay money directly to the government to get it. Now the government has money to be able to pay the county employees, namely the firefighters, of course the police department, school teachers, schools, fix the roads, and so on. So the county needs that money. So basically, tax money is what keeps the wheels of the county going. It's kind of the lubricant that keeps the wheels going. All right, so now, if you want to buy a tax lien certificate, anybody can buy one. They're sold at public auctions. Some of them are only $100, some of them are $10,000. So they get every number in between. But there's plenty of tax lien certificates that are available. So the legislature passed the rule. Now the county treasurer has to implement the rule. So how did they go about doing that? Well, first they send a notice out, but if the people don't pay, all right, they've levied the tax. Now they have to try to collect the tax. If they can't collect the tax, they actually are going to issue a tax lien certificate in half of the states. The other half of the states are going to confiscate the property. It's going to be one or the other. But everybody is mandated to pay taxes to the county. If they don't pay taxes in the tax lien certificate state, well, then those people that are on the default list are going to be on a list called tax lien properties list. Those properties are in default, and you can buy a tax lien certificate from that list. All right, where'd you find the list? It was on the county website, or it's going to be in the newspaper. Everyone is authorized to buy. Anyone that wants to go there, it's a public auction. All right, now they're going to sell this tax lien certificate. Now, Florida has unique rules that are a little confusing for most people. So I'll try to get through those in the few minutes I have left. All right, so in Florida, they sell a tax lien certificate. Now, the tax lien certificate could stay outstanding as much as 2 years. The property owner stays in the property. They don't push them out of the property. The property owner stays in the property. However, they're in default. So anytime during that 2 years, the property owner can come in and pay their tax. So they have to pay 100% of what you paid for the certificate, and they have to pay the interest rate, which could be all the way up to 18%. All right, now anytime in the 2 years, they can pay that. Now, at the end of the 2 years, if they don't pay, well, in all the other states, if they don't pay, well, then you can go ahead and get the property. So only two things can happen on most tax certificates. One, you get paid. Two, you get the property. It's either one or the other. But in Florida, it's a little bit different. In Florida, you buy the certificate, and you might have to hold it up to 2 years. At the end of the 2 years, if they haven't paid you, then you have to notify the county, and the county will have another auction. So in Florida, they have 2 auctions before you get the property. One is the tax lien certificate, and then the second auction is they didn't pay it, so now there's going to be a second auction. At the second auction, if the property sells, well, that's not going to make you unhappy because you're going to get all your money plus the interest when it sells. If the property doesn't sell, you're going to get the property without a mortgage or a trust deed. So let's do it again to make sure everybody's comfortable with what's going on. So Florida is different than the other states with tax lien certificates. In all the states other than Florida, if you raise your hand, you buy the certificate. If they don't pay the certificate, you are going to get the property. In Florida, it doesn't work that way. You raise your hand, you buy the certificate. All right, now you have to wait until that certificate matures, which could be as much as 2 years. At the end of the 2 years, if they haven't paid, then you tell the county they didn't pay, and the county will have another auction. Anybody can buy at that auction. If someone buys, you get all your money. You'll get your capital back plus the high investment. That's good. All right. Now, if they don't come in and pay, the auction took place. All right. So you're going to get your money on the second auction. Okay. If no one comes in at the second auction, you're going to get the property. So in both cases, you're going to do very well in the state of Florida. All right. So has this been going on for a long time? Over 200 years, they've been doing the same system, so you can make money on this. Now, I'm running out of time. All right. So what are we talking about today? We talked about tax lien property lists, which you can get at the county, or they're going to be in the newspaper. I'm out of time, but right below me, if you'd like to have an auction list to see what it looks like, you can order one just by going below, and it's free. I'm Ted Thomas.